The professor tried to humiliate her. His career ended that day. A cold wind blew across the tall buildings of the city. Inside one of the finest law schools, the students filled the wide hall, their books open, their pens moving, and their eyes sharp. Everyone wanted to be the best, because this school was famous for producing great lawyers, judges, and leaders. If you studied here, the world respected you. At the back of the hall, a black woman sat quietly. Her name was Grace. She wore a simple black dress, glasses, and carried only a notebook. She didn't laugh loudly like the others. She didn't whisper about the new gossip. She just listened and wrote. But the students around her did not think she belonged. A boy named Mark leaned close to his friend Anna and whispered, "Who is she? I've never seen her before. She looks too old to be a student." Anna smirked. "Maybe she's lost. Or maybe she cleans here. Look at her bag. It's not even fancy." Grace heard their whispers, but she said nothing. She just kept writing. The professor walked in. His name was Mr. White, tall with gray hair and glasses. He slammed his books on the desk. The whole room went silent. "Today," he said loudly, "we will talk about justice." The students leaned forward. Professor White looked around, then stopped when his eyes landed on Grace. He frowned. "You," he said sharply, pointing his finger. "What are you doing here? This is not a free place for strangers. Only students belong here." The room filled with soft laughter. Some students covered their mouths, pretending not to laugh too loudly, but the sound spread like fire. Grace closed her notebook slowly. Her calm eyes looked straight at the professor. "I asked you a question," the professor barked. "Stand up." "Who let you in?" Grace rose. Her voice was soft but strong. "I walked in myself." The students giggled again. Professor White sneered. "Then you may walk out. This is not a public lecture." "We cannot have distractions," Mark whispered. "She should be embarrassed. She's in the wrong place." But Grace did not move toward the door. Instead, she began walking to the front. Every step echoed across the floor. The laughter started to fade. Something about her calm face, her steady steps, made the room grow uneasy. When she reached the front, she turned to face the class. Her voice, though calm, carried power. "My name," she said, "is Grace Thomas. I am not a student. I am the new dean of this faculty." The entire hall froze. Pens dropped. Mouths opened. The air itself felt heavy. Even Professor White took a step back, his face pale with shock. No one laughed now. The silence in the hall was thick. Grace stood tall, her notebook still in her hand. Her eyes scanned the room. She saw the faces that had laughed, the smirks that had mocked her, and the professor's shaken hands. Mark's jaw dropped. "Dean," he whispered to Anna, who stared with wide eyes. Professor White cleared his throat, trying to recover his authority. "There must be some mistake." "The dean? We were not told." Grace lifted her hand, and his words died in his throat. Her presence was calm but powerful, like someone who had carried storms inside her and learned how to tame them. "I was told to observe this class quietly," Grace said. "I wanted to see the students. I wanted to know who among you understands justice, not only in books but in life. And what I saw," she let her words hang in the air. The silence grew heavier. Was arrogance, disrespect, laughter at those you think are beneath you. Several students lowered their eyes. Grace turned to the professor. "And from you I saw humiliation. A man trusted to teach law, yet blind to fairness in his own classroom." Professor White's face turned red. He opened his mouth to argue, but the weight of her eyes held him still. Anna crossed her arms tightly, shifting in her seat. "She can't really be the dean," she whispered. But her voice shook, betraying her doubt. Grace stepped closer to the chalkboard, picking up a piece of chalk. Her writing was swift and firm. "Justice begins with respect." She underlined it once, twice. Then she faced the students again. "You are here to learn law," she said, "but law is more than rules and books. It is about people. The poor, the weak, the mocked, the forgotten. If you laugh at someone because of how they look, or where they sit, or the bag they carry, then you have failed before you even start." Her words cut deep. The room felt smaller, as if the walls leaned closer. Mark swallowed hard. For the first time, he wondered if his jokes had made him smaller, not bigger. Anna looked away, ashamed. Even the strongest voices in the class had no reply. Grace set the chalk down. "This," she said firmly, "is only the beginning." "I was recently transferred to this school," Grace said softly, her eyes sweeping across the stunned students. "And I chose not to make a grand entrance with speeches or introductions. I wanted to sit where no one noticed me. I wanted to see who you truly are when you think no one important is watching." Her words sank deep. Students shifted in their seats, uncomfortable, as if she had peeled away the mask each of them wore. Professor White cleared his throat again. "Dean Thomas, Grace raised her hand. "Don't rush to explain. The truth is already clear. You saw me, a black woman sitting quietly in the back, and you assumed I did not belong. The laughter around me told me exactly what kind of future leaders this school is raising." Mark's face burned. Anna dropped her pen, her hand shaking. The room felt heavy with shame. Grace walked slowly to the professor's desk. She rested her notebook on it and looked at the class again. "This is not about me. It is about you. It is about whether you can become more than book smart. Can you be just? Can you see beyond yourself?" The silence was so sharp it almost hurt. Then a hand rose slowly in the middle of the class. It was a quiet boy named James who rarely spoke. His voice trembled as he said, I laugh too. I thought you were a cleaner. I was wrong. I'm sorry." A gasp went through the room. James had never admitted a mistake before. His honesty cracked something open. Grace nodded, her eyes softening just slightly. "That is the first step. To admit when you are wrong." She let her gaze linger on every student. "But words alone are not enough. Each of you will show me in action what respect and justice mean to you. From this moment, your training begins anew. I will not allow arrogance to graduate from this hall." The air felt electric, as if the very walls had come alive with her words. For the first time, the students realized this woman was not here to play a role. She was here to change everything. And nothing in their world would ever be the same again. The school board met the next day. Grace sat quietly as students and staff gave their stories. The truth was clear. Professor White had mocked her, and he had failed to show the respect a teacher should have. He tried to explain, but the video from the classroom left no doubt. Everyone saw how he pointed, how the students laughed, and how Grace revealed who she was. The head of the board spoke firmly. "A law school cannot be built on arrogance. If a teacher cannot practice justice, he cannot teach justice. Professor White, you are dismissed." The news spread fast. Students were shocked, but they knew it was fair. Some felt ashamed for laughing, others felt relief. The school learned a lesson that no book could teach. Grace didn't smile or boast. She only said, "Respect is where justice begins." Never forget that. From that day, students walked differently. They looked at people with kinder eyes. And whenever someone new sat at the back, they were welcomed, because everyone remembered the day the dean taught them the greatest lesson of all. Final lesson. Never underestimate someone based on looks, silence, or position. True power is respect, courage, and fairness. Humiliation comes back to those who dish it out. Justice always starts with how we treat others, and integrity wins every time. If you found this story captivating, don't forget to subscribe and share.